Hey personal finance students, so I am coming to you on location today. I am sitting in my minivan, and this is one of the coolest places, especially during this quarantine, because it's how I get away from the family for a little bit. But I'm coming to you today from this location for a couple of different reasons. Number one, rather than meeting through our Zooms, which we're still going to have Zooms, but they're mostly going to be just a time for you to check in with me if you need to, and then pop out. They're going to be very, very brief. You're going to use this as your instruction, these videos that I'm posting as your instruction from now on for the last weeks that we have together. And so that's the first reason that I'm, here in my minivan recording. But second of all, our current chapter of instruction has to do with consumer awareness. And, companies, they know what they're doing. They understand the consumer mind and how it works, and they know how to advertise to you. And all of the things that you're going to do this week for this particular section, this chapter or this content area on consumer awareness is going to be centered around what businesses know and things along those lines. But we also want you to be a wise consumer. And when we're talking about consumer awareness, what that means is, understanding how to best use your money and your resources available to you in an equitable and fun way as well. So I'm coming to you from my minivan because this is a large purchase that my husband and I made 5 years ago, and we did so using the Dave Ramsey methods. We used cash to pay full for this vehicle. We did a lot of our homework and our research and everything prior to this. And, we went through the different categories and the different kind of steps or tips that he gives when it comes to making a large purchase. And so we're going to talk about that today in this video. But I wanted to go ahead before we get talking about this stuff. Number one, lay out your assignments, and then I want to show you my awesome minivan. So as far as your assignments for this week, your first assignment is going to be to go on Schoology, go into Foundations Digital, and you're going to go to the Consumer Awareness section. In the Consumer Awareness section, you're going to see a bunch of videos like we typically would have if we were in the classroom, and what I want you to do is to watch those video clips, all of the video clips for the entire unit. And after the video clips, if there's a quiz, take the quiz. So your goal is to go through, look at all of the content from this, section on consumer awareness. It might take you some time, and, truth be told, it's really all about how much you decide you're going to actually take this part of this class seriously. But I really hope that you do, because I'm going to go into Foundations Digital later and check who completed the quizzes and things along those lines, and that's how you're going to get your points for this particular part of the assignment. So that's your first assignment, is to go into Foundations Digital and watch the content from this section on consumer awareness and to complete the quizzes, and I'll check for those quiz completions. Then your second assignment for the week is what we like to call a choice board. And I apologize, I've got paint on my hands. I was just painting at my lake lot. So I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to get home and wash my hands before doing this video. But what I would like for you to do for this second assignment is you're going to be given a choice board. And on this choice board, there's going to be 7 options. You get to choose one to do for your assignment for this week. So again, you have 2 assignments this week. One's going into Foundations Digital and completing the videos and quizzes. And then the second one is to choose one from the choice board to complete. And there's 7 different options. You're going to have this week and the next 2 weeks to do a choice board option. So if you see multiple ones that you want to consider, maybe save one of them for next week that you can do, or the week after, and then you'll get a chance to do that. So this is a good opportunity for you to, number one, know what we're learning in this particular content area, but also to look at something a little differently that's of your own choosing for an assignment. So and get points along the way. So that's a little bit of what we're doing with this class, and we're going to get to the, big purchase, 5 tips that you need to know. But first, let me show you this awesome minivan. This might be one of my all-time favorite features right here, the heated seats. So this minivan, we bought it 5 years ago, actually exactly 5 years ago, 2 weeks prior. So on March 14th, and we bought it on my birthday 5 years ago. And one of my favorite features is the heated seats. It does not have an adaptation for my auxiliary cord, so that's kind of a bummer. So I cannot play my phone and music off of it or anything like that. And it has no docking station. It's a little too old to have that. It's a 2004, so it is an older minivan. Something else, leather seats. These are a dream come true for a mother of 3. These things clean like no other. Look at the cup holders up here. We got 2 right here. Got 2 more right here. Oh, but wait. There's there's more. Another one right there. Got one in each side of the door. I mean, it's pretty spectacular, the number of cup holders, and that's just in the front. Let me not even forget the back here. And look at this. Plenty of room for my 3 kids. They're booster seats, and they're car seats that are bigger. We can fold down the seats. We can actually take these seats completely out and move them around if we'd like to. I've got my little floor protectors because it's been a muddy time in this van. But, we got these little, sun shield window things that come up. It's pretty sweet. Got a DVD player. It's awesome. Got, again, more cup holders back in the back. You see those back there? Yeah, and there's some more over there. I don't know if you can get in that camera angle, but it's a pretty sweet minivan. We're pretty proud of it. And it works well for our needs. So, awesome sauce. Okay. So now that you've seen how awesome this minivan is, let me tell you a little bit about the story about the day that we actually purchased it. And really, the story doesn't start the day we bought it. It actually starts much before this, because my husband and I, basically since we graduated high school, had driven the same vehicles. Actually, we both had Pontiac Bonnevilles in high school and continued to drive those cars through college, and those cars got us all the way out here to Kansas. And it was, as we were driving those vehicles, we knew that at some point we wanted to start a family, and at some point we'd probably need something a little bit bigger, a little bit more suitable for a family. And we started discussing what our financial goals were when it came to that. And at the time, we had 1 child, and we knew we wanted to have more, and we knew that having a family and having children around the same ages and things like that, and car seats and all that fun stuff, a van would probably be the most suitable, a van or an SUV. We were actually, between the two. And it came time for us to really get a vehicle because one of our cars was kind of having some difficulties, and we knew it wasn't worth putting more money into it. It was time to replace the vehicle, and we wanted to replace it with something that would last us a while, that would be a really good use of our hard work and our money. And so we had been saving for some time, and we had $11,000 saved up, and we knew that we could probably get a really decent vehicle with that money. But we wanted to not only just get a decent vehicle, but something that was going to work for our family for a good long period of time. And so, like I said, this was 5 years ago, the time we had 1 kid, and we started doing some homework. We started doing some research, looking at SUVs, looking at minivans, looking at things that had enough seating like a minivan that were SUVs, and then SUVs that were just more regular size for 5 to 6 individuals. We started looking at things that would hold multiple car seats. We started thinking about different features and different things that would pertain to us personally, like would we need it to haul a trailer of some sort for a reason, or would we need it to be able to go on vacations and get good gas mileage? We started comparing those types of things. We started talking to people that had these different types of vehicles. We started comparing brands and looking at different years and makes and models, and we started doing a lot of homework. And all the while we're doing this homework, we're continuing to save. And again, we got to $11,000, and we felt like we had narrowed our search down to a couple of options. And we talked to this used car dealership about some of the options that they had on their lot, and we decided we were going to go out there and look at some of these options. And so when we got there, they were ready for us. We had talked to them about what our needs were and what we wanted to look at. They gladly showed us the items that we were concerned about, tried to show us some other things, and really talk us down a road that we really weren't anxious or excited about. And so we kind of pushed them back in the direction that we wanted to go. And basically we landed on this minivan as far as what my husband and I knew we wanted. And it was a little bit above our price range. They were asking $12,500 for it. And we knew we didn't want to pay that. We knew we wanted to pay it fully in cash, and we had saved $11,000. Now, up to this point, we hadn't talked with the salesperson about the fact that we literally had cash in hand, but we wanted to make sure we got, down to what we wanted before we started talking about the actual dollars. And it came time to actually start doing that, and we said, hey, we see that this is the cost of the vehicle. We know that you're already bringing it down pretty much as low as you can, but here's the deal. We've got cash. We've got $11,000 cash with us that we're ready to pay right now. We don't want to spend a penny more. if you can make this deal work for us, we'll be, excited to do it and do it today. And that was after doing a lot of background research and after saving and, and having all of those conversations with ourselves ahead of time. So we were ready to make that choice. And so we did. We purchased our minivan that day. We walked out the door and didn't owe a dime to anyone. And so far it's been an awesome car. Our research and our work has paid off. Very minimal maintenance, just your regular oil changes and tune-ups and new tires, stuff like that. But other than that, it's been an awesome vehicle, and it's going to be an awesome vehicle for some time. And so we're very, very grateful for that. And so, doing the things that this class teaches is not just about doing the things that this class teaches. It's about life. It's about, making the most of your money and making your money truly count. So I hope you guys can see that. Let me go ahead and get through these 5 my painted hands. Let me get through these 5 tips that you need to know when making a purchase, and I'll talk about them briefly, and then we're done. So let's go. Okay, 5 tips for large purchases, taken from the Foundations in Personal Finance by Dave Ramsey Solutions, but taught by yours truly, Andrea Richardson. Tip number 1, wait overnight. I know this might sound kind of like a duh, but a lot of times when we're excited about a purchase, whether it's a large amount or a small amount that's going to go into the purchase, we're just ready to buy. And that's a natural inclination. However, that often leads to buyer's remorse, the act of feeling bad about that purchase later on because we bought it impulsively. And so one of the things that Dave Ramsey really encourages, and I encourage you to think about, is to wait overnight. It'll be worth your while, and anybody who's pressuring you to make a decision sooner than that or not giving you the time that you need to make a proper decision is not being a person in your corner. They're not on your side. They're out there for the profit. So keep that in mind. If there's a large purchase that you're about to make and somebody's rushing you, it'll be available somewhere else. Take some time, and at the very least, wait overnight. Sleep on it. It's good advice. Tip number 2, consider buying motive. Okay, so what is your why behind the purchase? Is it a selfish reason? Is it a helpful reason? Is it to complete a task or a goal? Is it going to lead to helping you achieve your goals in the future, or things that are important to you or that you value? Really understand the why behind what you are purchasing. If it's really just for fun and that's all it is, that's not necessarily a bad reason, but at least understand that. Or does it really serve a purpose? If that's the case, understand that. But understand the why behind your wanting to make the purchase that you're purchasing. And again, we're talking about large purchases, your daily stuff, that adds up. But this is, specifically focused at large purchases. What is the buying motive behind it? We knew why we wanted to buy our minivan. Do you know why you want to make that next big purchase? Tip number 3, never buy anything you don't understand. Buying something that you don't understand fully could potentially get yourself into some trouble. You might remember during the insurance unit and in the investing unit, we talked to you about this kind of principle of not getting involved or buying things that you don't understand. That very much applies to large purchases. If it's something you don't understand, there's a good chance that you're either wasting your money or that it's not going to be used to its full benefit, and therefore you're not getting your money's value out of it. So understanding what you purchase is extremely important, and if you don't understand it, either take the time to learn and understand it prior to the purchase, or don't purchase it. Tip number 4, consider opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is one of those terms that you need to know from this chapter because the essence of it means money spent here cannot be spent there. Okay, money doesn't just make more of itself. So if you've got a set amount of money and you spend that money on a particular item or thing, event, you can't spend that same amount of money somewhere else. If you've got $5,000 and you spend that money on a vehicle, you've now taken away that $5,000 from being spent on a vacation, hence the picture you see before you. So you need to really think about, if I spend this money on this particular purchase, what does it mean I can no longer have? By buying the minivan, what did that mean that we couldn't buy with that $11,000? And there's plenty of things, but are you willing to give up those other things for the purchase that you're about to make? And that's really what you need to identify within yourself. And a lot of times, this will really help you decide if this purchase is worth making. The fifth and last tip is to seek wise counsel. And for each of us, that might look differently. When we were thinking about our minivan, we talked to other minivan owners. We talked to our parents about, their previous, experiences with these types of vehicles. We talked to the dealer and different people that we knew in relating to buying something with cash versus on payments. We had people that we sought out to discuss. And then we also had each other because we were in a married relationship. And some of you might have that sooner rather than later. But for a lot of you, you're probably going to be single adults for some time, making some choices on your own. So having those people that you can go to about specific purchases is really helpful. Maybe there's some go-to people that you just know handle their finances well in general, and you want to talk to them. Or maybe it's somebody that particularly knows about a specific area. So like for instance, when we bought our lake lot, we didn't just talk to anyone. We talked to people who knew about real estate and knew about the investment factor associated with it. And, you want to talk to the right people, the right counsel for the right situation. So keep that in mind when you're making a large purchase. Depending on the type of purchase, the people that you consult or use as counsel might change from type of purchase to type of purchase. But if you've got that built-in accountability in a marriage, you always want to start there. All right, so those are the 5 tips when it comes to making a large purchase. And hopefully with me sharing my personal experiences and you hearing those tips and starting to think about maybe some purchases that you might be making sooner rather than later or in the distant future, you'll be able to recall this information and hopefully use it to your benefit when making those purchases. All right, guys, best to you all during quarantine and have a great day.